Kirsty and Simon, each one will chime in, talking on their podcast, Stress Pubs Rock and Roll.
Hi, welcome to Stress Pubs and Rock and Roll. I'm Simon, and as normal, I'm here with
Susie and the Banshees. Obviously.
They're here every week, we just fade them out.
Yeah, no one needs to listen to that, do they?
Oh, I'm here with my train driver friend.
Yay!
Popping in.
There he is.
He always waits till we start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought you already drove past as well.
Yeah, I know, he's been past. Turned around, came back because we hadn't started recording. As well as Susie, I'm here with my friend Kirsty.
Hello, everyone.
We've got a special episode today because we're talking about stuff we don't really know about, which is films.
Oh, yes, I know not... well, yeah. Apparently, I shouldn't have enjoyed it as much as I did, apparently, according to the proper critics and stuff like that.
Yeah, we'll look at that. So we, obviously, for those of you who haven't listened to us before, most of you probably would. Otherwise, why are you tuning in?
What are you doing?
But if you are new, hello, welcome. We normally talk about just music and funny stuff, to be honest.
Yeah.
That happens to us via gigs and stuff. I'm just smashing my phone while we're talking. We thought we'd do a special episode this week because there's a new film out about Queen.
Yeah, we mentioned it in one of our earlier podcasts, and then we decided that we would go and watch it and tell you guys what we thought.
Yeah, so this is a bit more of a film review rather than a music show, I guess, today. But there's going to be loads of music chat. So the first thing was, I love going to cinema because it's a good excuse to like pretend you're like some kind of drug trafficker and smuggle in your own popcorn.
You literally, both of you had like the hugest bag of popcorn. Like when you guys were like, "Oh, yeah, no, don't worry, we've got our own popcorn," and I turned round and this bag was like, I was like, "Freaking hell! All right, that's."
I got a bit excited.
Hefty. Where did that even come from? I didn't even notice he had that bigger bag with you guys. Like,
Down my trouser leg.
just shoved down there.
I know it's fine to take your own snacks in, but I always feel a bit dodgy. I always feel like I'm cheating the system somehow.
I literally had like 2 little packets of Maltesers, and I was like, well, surely that's enough.
You're not your game, mate.
Yeah, well, obviously.
To get a cinema jacket with like a force inside.
All the pockets sewn in the inside lapels or whatever.
It's like, oh, in his puffer jacket again, coming back.
I'll just get cold, all right?
Yeah, so anyway, it's a good excuse to eat my body weight in popcorn. But we checked it out, so I don't think it's out in the States yet. So the film is Bohemian Rhapsody, obviously Queen biog. I don't think it's out in the States yet until November.
Oh, okay.
So there's a good chance, if you listen to this not in the UK, that you may this might be your first introduction to it.
Yeah.
In which case, we'll try not to do any spoilers. To be honest, I think most people know the story.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I'm not sure... If you don't know that Freddie Mercury's died, unfortunately, then yeah.
Sorry, guys.
Then that was a really bad way to find out. I do apologise.
As Andrew did ask if we were going to be posting any spoilers.
But I guess interestingly, the film doesn't really. There's a number of ways they could have approached the film, right, from a timeline perspective, and actually they finished the film a good kind of 8 years before.
Yeah, they didn't film. Yeah, they didn't finish it on like, oh, now he's dead. Thanks, bye. It wasn't like that. They sort of said about that bit when it kind of finished.
Yeah, I mean, not only do I remember him dying, but I remember Live Aid. You're probably you're a little bit younger than me, aren't you?
Yeah, I wasn't.
What was Live Aid? 85?
Yeah, no, I wasn't there.
So I was 6.
I wasn't around then.
You weren't born, yeah.
Yeah, the year after.
Yeah, but I distinctly remember like having an awareness of Live Aid.
Yeah.
I remember it being on, and I remember it being a big deal.
Yeah, I've got CDs and stuff that my parents got of like all the live recordings from Live Aid and things like that. It was a huge thing anyway, and I remember sort of being, you have these rite of passage things that your parents make you watch. And in my family, it's all the James Bond movies, the Indiana Jones movies, Star Wars, the Blues Brothers, and like just anything like that. That's sort of like an iconic thing. Oh, and like, Elvis's biography, like just stuff like that. It's kind of, you were sat down and you were told that you have to watch it regardless of whether you enjoyed it or not. And
Star Wars was definitely that for me, but I enjoyed it, so it wasn't too much of a challenge. I remember my dad making me watch, not making me, he didn't force me, but kind of letting me watch before I was old enough, so it felt like a kind of, oh yeah, this is good. Gremlins.
Oh yeah, Gremlins.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I was a bit older than when I watched that. I remember seeing a snippet of it, and my mum and dad were like, "Oh, we don't want to watch that. Oh no."
I remember I wanted to watch Nightmare on Elm Street, and my dad was like, "Well, I need to watch it first to make sure it's like appropriate." I mean, I was like 14 or something, but
Definitely not appropriate.
and I was like 14, and so my dad watched it, and it scared the shit out of him. And he was like, "You don't watch it." I couldn't even get to the end. So I didn't actually watch it till I was like 19, I don't think.
Wow.
But that is a shit scary film.
Yeah, like I watched it once.
Do you remember the first time we watched that?
Yeah, I think I was about 13, maybe. 13,
I think it's
14.
more scary because, if you know about the film. Like if you didn't know what it was and you just like watching it.
Yeah.
I mean, it is pretty scary, but I think that the whole hype around like Freddy's coming, he's going to get you in his sleep. I think there's like you're already.
It's talking about Freddy Krueger, not Freddie Mercury.
Oh yeah, that's
by
a good
the way.
point. Yeah, you've tuned in at like 2 minutes too late.
That's not how the film Bohemian Rhapsody goes. Just so you guys are aware.
Yeah, that is a good point.
What a twist! Like, holy moly!
So that's the biggest spoiler you're going to get. Yeah, too many Freddys. I didn't think about that. That is confusing. All right. Anyway, back to the film we were going to review rather than Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah.
First of all, I guess we should look at the cast of who's in it because before well, I'm sure we'll give you our opinions on various bits of the film as we go through it. But I have to say from the outset, the actor who plays Freddy, which is Rami Malek, bloody outstanding.
Yeah, I thought he was really, really amazing. For me, even in the trailer, he just encapsulated everything, like his mannerisms and the way he sort of posed and held himself, and also the way he spoke. And
he had to do a load of not just vocal coaching because he had to talk with those false teeth in, but he did a lot of vocal coaching apparently to get Freddie's mannerisms and the way he talked. Because he had quite a weird accent as well. Yeah, he
had a very forced accent, I think. Maybe that's what you'd call it. I was speaking to my friend Sam about it the other day, and he said that he'd read somewhere that he was wearing his the false teeth in a previous movie that he was filming, so he could get used to speaking with them without a lisp or
Oh, really?
Yeah, you know what it's like when you put in like a pair of freaking like those Halloween fangs or whatever.
Oh yeah, it's impossible.
You're just like spitting on everybody.
There was points in the movie he looked like all of them actually.
Yeah.
As lookalikes were brilliant.
Yeah.
I did think there was the odd point in the movie where they'd made him a little bit too buck teeth. Like having looked at pictures of Freddy since I've watched the movie last week.
Yeah.
They've done him a little bit of a disservice because it's not. It felt a bit exaggerated.
Yeah.
The whole teeth thing in parts, but yeah, no, you're right. It's really hard to talk with anything.
I thought he did him really good justice, actually.
They're tipping him for some kind of Oscar or something like that for this film. I know, and we'll talk about it later. I mean, it's fair to say the film itself has had some fairly mixed reviews.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the conclusion we'll probably come to in an hour is we thought it was pretty good. We really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I had a couple of bits I want to mention later on that grate on me a little bit, and I think that's probably where some of the other bad reviews come in. But overall, I thought it was a brilliant film, and his performance absolutely made it for me.
No, I agree. I think he did a really good job.
It's a fairly big film for the guy because he's not done. I mean, he was in. We were just talking about before we started recording. He was in Night at the Museum.
Yeah.
He was the Pharaoh, I think.
Yeah, so I think those three movies were like the biggest ones that he's most well known for. I would have said. Yeah.
So rounding off Queen in this movie, then Ben Hardy plays Roger Taylor.
Yeah, Peter Beale.
Yeah, I was like, where do I know him from? It's like, it's EastEnders, isn't it?
I know, the whole entire film,
He's a Beale.
the entire time I was like looking at him, I was like, God, Roger Taylor's pretty fit, isn't he? And I was like, hang on a minute. Wait a minute. And then I realised who it was. I was like, oh my God. I suppose if you're in the US, you might not know, or anywhere else, I suppose, apart from the UK, you probably don't know who Peter Beale is too.
No, I haven't watched EastEnders for like 10 years. Is that Ian Beale's son?
Yeah.
Because Ian Beale's certainly not fit.
No. No, he's a homeless pain in the arse, and he...
Yeah. It's fair to say, though, I'm sure there's shows in the States like this. Most actors, especially if you go and watch anything in, like, the West End, which obviously are equivalent of Broadway, you read the cast notes for any of those actors, every single one of them has been in EastEnders at some point, and Casualty. It's like, you cannot get away from the fact that every actor on his way up goes through those two shows.
Yeah. It's true.
Yeah.
They always die in a car crash, and, you know, the council have apparently taken no measures to pedestrianise the square at all, even though at least once a year 2 people get killed by a motor accident.
There's got to be 40 people who live in the universe of EastEnders, and there's always at least 1 car death every year.
Yeah.
And about 4 other deaths. Yeah. So it's like, that's 10%.
Yeah, I don't know how...
It's pretty bad. Pretty high mortality rate.
Yeah, I don't know how the population is surviving over there, to be honest.
It's not good. The rest of the band, John Deacon in the band, was played by Joseph Mazzello, and Gwilym Lee plays Brian May, who I thought was brilliant.
Yeah, he was.
Really good. And he plays it in a really awkward way, and I kind of want to feel like that is what Brian May is. Brian May never looks comfortable in his own body.
No.
Anyway.
Well, he doesn't. Even when he's taking like he's like, oh yeah, I'm going to take a really like epic guitar solo. He still sort of stands there with his legs really close together and sort of doesn't really look at anyone.
Yeah.
And sort of just does it, and then he's sort of like, yeah, right, cheers, yeah, thanks, mate.
Yeah, I thought... and in the dialogue in the film from the Brian May character is awkward all the way through.
Yeah, really awkward.
And I think it's brilliant. I mean, what they did get across quite well is how kind of bunch of misfits Queen were, and how un-rock and roll and uncool they were. But kind of that kind of made them cool.
Yeah, I think they could have made a bit more of that, to be honest, because it felt like to me they only mentioned that like a little bit, and then it became like a really big thing. But we didn't really have I don't know. I didn't feel like there was a lot of backstory behind the other characters. So I felt like halfway through the film I kind of knew who Freddie was, but then I didn't really know who anybody else was, especially John Deacon. Like, he says like 3 words in the whole movie.
Yeah.
And like I felt a bit bad, and like even Sean was like, oh well, the bass player don't say nothing, does he? Freaking typical, bass player doesn't have a voice. I'm like, oh my god.
I say it again without swearing. In every band that I've been in, the bass has always been like, we've talked about this before, weird and mute.
Weirdos. Yeah, you had a mute bass player.
We did.
We're not.
Wasn't John Deacon, but yeah.
Oh gosh.
So I thought, and there's a cameo in there from Mike Myers, which is just inspired.
Yes. Yeah.
But yeah, so that was the cast. I mean, Freddie himself was actually due to be played by Sacha Baron Cohen.
Yes, I read that.
Who was Ali G, Borat, and what else has he been?
Oh god.
He did the Dictator film, didn't he? But I guess most people, even in the States, will probably know him for Borat and Ali G.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he lives in LA, doesn't he? So I think they have some idea of who he is.
Yeah, so the film from what I understand was in production for quite a number of years, because it kept having some false starts and didn't really get off the ground. It was initially going to be him. They bowed out because actually he wasn't. I think there was two reasons I've read that he bowed out. He wanted to take it in a bit more of a serious direction,
right?
Rather than the sort of light entertainment film that it ended up becoming. Right. So I think he wanted to have a bit more grit in the Freddie character. And actually, to be honest, that's where a lot of the bad reviews come from. We'll touch on that later, but most of them are around the fact that it's a very safe film. Yeah. It doesn't hang anyone out to dry. It doesn't really show up too many flaws in anybody. It's just a very nice kind of... Yeah. It's more High School Musical than it is Walk the Line. Yeah, like... If I was honest.
I mean, with their band fights and stuff, they're very, like... They're not tongue-in-cheek, but they always resolve it with a laugh. So it's like, oh, it was all right, really, see? Whereas being in a band and having band arguments, I know that it doesn't always end up like that.
Yeah, and I think the character flaws were more significant than they are portrayed in the film.
Yeah, definitely.
It's a difficult balance. I think that was one of the reasons where he didn't feel that he was a good fit for it. Brian May, obviously, and Roger Taylor, who were both involved in the production of this, so they were consulted and had a good say in what happened in this film.
Yeah.
I know Brian May felt very much that he was too much of a high-profile star who's got a reputation for comedy and parodies and stuff like that, and I think he wanted it to be about Queen, not about the fact that Sacha Baron Cohen was in the film.
Yeah.
So I think actually the choice of having four, I wouldn't say unknown, but four relatively...
There's sort of people who would probably do more, as you said earlier, like theatre production stuff, probably, rather than Hollywood stuff. So grassroots, kind of that sort of thing, I think.
Yeah, and I think that served the film well, in my perspective, I think, because it didn't become a distraction in like, oh, there's massive stars playing this person and playing that person.
Yeah, exactly, because I have a real big thing about that. When someone really, really famous plays another really famous person.
What did you expect before you went in?
Right, so...
Did you have any expectations about this is going to be the best film in the world ever? Because I think that's always dangerous.
No, I didn't. I know. I never feel that way about any film. I always give everything a chance, even if it's rubbish. I give it a chance, and I try and see everything through to the end, and then I make a decision based on that. And
have you ever left a film? I've been close. I've been freaking close. AI, I was very close.
Oh, really? No, I've watched AI. I don't remember it, but I definitely watched it. Oh, is that the one with that kid, that freaky-looking kid?
Just die already.
Yeah, and he's at the bottom of the ocean, and you're like, frickin' Nora.
4 hours of him just not dying.
Yeah,
it's really annoying.
Yeah. And then, like, Jude Law is in it, isn't he? And he's like a prostitute robot.
Yeah.
He's like a gigolo or something, isn't he? And he's like,
Gigabot.
yeah, they made me for the ladies or something. And I'm like, what? Regardless of that. Yeah, so on seeing the trailer, I was really, really excited because I thought it was going to delve really into how they made Bohemian Rhapsody. Like, I really thought it was going to do that. I thought it was going to be a lot of, like, well, this is how we did it in the studio, and then it would really explore that. But it only explored it for, like, 5 minutes. And then, like, literally, he joins the band, and then literally 10 minutes later, they've written Bohemian Rhapsody, and you're like, wait a minute, what's happened to, like, all the time? Wait, what? And then they're in America, and you're like, what? Wait.
Yeah, it's tough, isn't
it? And it's a little bit like...
I guess the timeline of the film, I suppose, it starts... I mean, it doesn't really touch on anyone's childhood. It kind of starts when they're at college, doesn't it? And
yeah,
it starts pretty much around the time that Roger Taylor, Brian May, and another guy who was the lead singer in the band. In fact, I think they're all in the band other than Freddie at that point. They've got a different singer, haven't they? And they're called Smile.
No, John Deacon isn't in it because the lead singer was the bass player.
Oh, okay. That's right, yes.
The lead singer was the bassist.
Because Freddie can play bass.
Yeah, because it's quite unusual to have a lead singer bassist.
Yeah. So the timeline of Bohemian Rhapsody starts pretty much from the point where Freddie joins the band.
Yes.
And Roger and Brian are already... They're not even rocky names, are they? Roger, Brian, Freddie and John.
Yeah.
And the timeline of the film pretty much goes up to the finale of the film finishes at their Live Aid performance. Yeah. Which was 85.
Yeah.
So it kind of spans about 10, 15 years. It doesn't obviously delve much into their background or childhood or any of the band, really.
Yeah.
A little bit about Freddie's, but to be honest, it's a fleeting glance.
Yeah, it's very, very like, oh, he's not from England. There you go.
Yeah. Yeah, just tick that one, cover that one off.
Yeah. And everyone's racist towards him. There you go, bye.
Yeah. And it kind of stops pretty much bang on Live Aid. So it doesn't cover the next kind of 8 years.
No, it gives you a brief synopsis at the end of his relationship with Jim Hutton, doesn't it? But it doesn't really... I don't know, I thought that was quite good because I felt that would be more of a kind of Freddie Mercury biog thing, like his life thing. And I didn't... Like, I wasn't expecting it to be that centred on him. Like, I obviously expected him to be a large part, but I kind of wanted a bit more of the rest of the band.
No, I think this is where a lot of the negative reviews have been around. They they give Freddie a very easy ride on this. I mean, to be fair, they delve into the fact that he was very promiscuous and he was a bit of a twat, and they do show some of the excess and the issues he had and all that kind of stuff. But it's fairly sugar coated, and you never see anything too bad. It never really shows up as a character flaw. It's a bit more like, oh, it's just a bit misguided, and he's like says sorry, and then it's all good.
Yeah, like he'll turn up late and they'll be like, oh, you're late. Oh, you're drunk, are you?
Yeah.
Whereas, like, really, you'd be mad at somebody because from a being a friend of somebody perspective, and they're off their face on drugs and going and doing stuff all the time every night, and then they're letting everyone down, you would be more angry at the person because you actually cared for their welfare. And where it's sort of like, oh, we have a little bit of a tufty little play fight, oh, and it's over. And I was like, I don't believe that.
Yeah, I think to be honest, I think this is they're between a rock and a hard place on this, because first of all, you've got two of his good mates and bandmates who are on the production crew of this. Yeah. Then it was never ever going to be like, let's rip Freddie Mercury apart.
No,
and
never.
This is warts and all, like, kind of. It's just not. You've got to think about where this film is emanating from.
Yeah, definitely.
It's a approved, licensed film from the band.
Yeah, no,
celebrating
definitely.
the music.
Yeah, they would. Yeah, they're obviously going to portray just what is an ideal sort of scenario. I mean, obviously there are elements of truth in it, but I feel it is very, well, this kind of happened, but we got over it. And that's, that's fine.
But I think that's where people have a real hang-up. Say, do you know what? That you're sugarcoating stuff and you're changing stuff around, and it's not being truthful. Because to me, most of the people who've come out of the woodwork and slated this film have been people who've written biogs and all that kind of stuff. And
with any band or musical movie, I mean, we all know what frickin' happens. We've all seen, like, for prime example, complete satire, Spinal Tap. Like, I mean, obviously that is complete and utter satire, but it's funny because it's true. Like, those things happen, and they do happen to bands. And it does get that ridiculous and stupid. So I feel like part of it, if they're trying to make this film anyway, I feel part of it, they didn't want it to be like Spinal Tap. They didn't want it to be satirical and stupid. They wanted it to be like, look, we did have our fallings out, but we did actually still want to be a band together and stuff like that. I do feel like it wasn't progressive to the story, I suppose, really.
Well, I think the thing is, they have to make a decision whether this is going to be a film about the band or whether it's going to be about Freddie.
Yeah.
And it was very firmly about the band.
Yeah.
He's such a character that it was already fairly dominated. The storyline was fairly dominated by Freddie Mercury anyway, as it was.
Yeah.
If you want that grit, frankly, you're going to need another hour tapped onto the end of the film.
Yeah.
And it becomes a Freddie Mercury film.
Yeah.
In which case, if you're going into that realm, then you've got to delve backwards and find out where he came from and all the backstory and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
And it starts to draw massively away from the music and the other stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
I think we're so used to Netflix series now, where you've got like 20 hours to tell a story, and you can really get, and they're gritty and they're really into every character flaw and detail and stuff like that. You forget that this is a film that has to be 2 hours, covering a multitude of songs. They have to shoehorn in there. They replicated the whole of the Live Aid set without cutting anything out. Like, they had 20 minutes of it was just a reenaction of the Live Aid performance.
To be honest, that was one of my favourite bits.
Yeah, it's epic. We'll get onto that in a minute. If you draw a line under that and set your expectations that this is a Queen-approved film, just strap in and enjoy it, man.
Yeah,
It was really enjoyable.
It was enjoyable. I thought it was really emotional, actually.
So I didn't get too emotionally held up with it, but I thought there was enough in there of a story and a little bit of tension to get emotionally invested in it.
Yeah, if you've ever watched any documentaries or anything on Queen or on Freddie Mercury, and obviously about HIV and AIDS and whatever, it is actually it's a really dark element that they had to kind of deal with. Like, you can't, there's no way you can just be like, oh, and there's AIDS, all right, bye. You
Well,
can't really be like that about it.
Have you ever watched Philadelphia?
Yeah, I can't watch
Jesus,
it.
that's a
I
depressing
can't
film.
watch that movie because I just,
I feel
even
like-
with the first 5 minutes, I'm like bawling.
It's just, it's just like, it's too much.
In the documentaries, they always mention, like Brian May and Roger Taylor, but they always mention how Freddie was like, look guys, I've got it. And in the movie, it actually plays out exactly how they always describe it every single time. And because I've sort of seen all those documentaries and stuff like that and watched them many, many times, and that just really hit home a lot. I was just like, oh, that's so sad.
Yeah.
Like, it's
well,
really
he says
sad,
in the
and then-
movie, doesn't he? He says, as he tells them, he says, "I don't tell anyone. I don't want to become a poster boy for this disease."
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
he's massively famous. It would be really easy for them to, it to be all around him. And in fact, in reality, I don't think we really found out until he died. I mean, pretty much as he died, like we found out he had AIDS and he died a couple of weeks later. We found out right at the very end. So
Yeah, there was speculation. I think there was a lot of speculation about it. So people were like, oh, he's looking very ill. Oh, he's looking really
Yeah.
withdrawn. Oh, he's not coming out of his house very often. Oh, what's going on here then?
it's a difficult subject.
Oh.
But I think they approached it in the right way. In the same way he's saying, I don't want to become, but that's not what defines Queen.
Yeah, definitely.
And so, obviously, you can't do a Queen movie without mentioning it.
No, yeah, it's
Yeah.
pretty imperative.
It's pretty critical to the storyline.
Yeah.
But I think they touched on it fairly well. There was enough. There was 20 minutes of stuff around it, but it wasn't the focus. The focus was the music. One more thing I was going to mention about why. So again, a lot of the criticism was that this film was a little bit caught in the middle ground. It wasn't one thing or another. It kind of told the gritty stuff about Freddie, but didn't really do it. And it wasn't. It was a little bit middle of the road.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it could be down to the fact that they actually changed director halfway through filming the damn thing.
Yeah,
So
that's a bit surprising too.
Yeah, so they had on the credits for the directorship, it cites Bryan Singer, who was the director of the film.
Right.
Now, according to Directors Guild of America, the rules are that you can only ever state one director on the film.
Right, okay.
So you have to attribute it to one director. It must be to do with, I don't know, royalties or something like that.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, he actually stepped out like midway through. I think they filmed like 2/3 of the film,
Right.
and then he just started not turning up. He wasn't turning up to days, or he was turning up late, and he just wasn't interested in the film. And he kept falling out with all the cast and having big rows.
Was he going to gay bars and getting tanked?
I've no idea. Yeah, probably. There was load of issues that I kind of get the impression from reading a few articles that it hasn't really come out of the woodwork. I think there was probably more to it. But yeah, he started not turning up and stuff like that. So they ended up, they sacked him and he walked off. And nothing happened on the film for like a good sort of 6-7 weeks. They just stopped production. They didn't film anything.
Flippin' heck.
Yeah. So a guy called Dexter Fletcher actually finished off the film.
Yeah.
But as he said, 60% of the footage was kind of already shot. A lot of the live scenes, in terms of the live performance, stage setups, and all that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
are pretty much all been done at that point. But he came in halfway through.
Yeah, I mean, I mentioned earlier, I felt like the early bit, it just felt really rushed.
Yeah, it got better as it went on.
Yeah.
I have to say.
Yeah, after the Mike Myers cameo,
Yeah.
I would say it picked up a bit. It sort of felt like it was kind of moving a bit more, and you kind of understood what was happening a bit more. Whereas at the beginning, you were sort of like, oh, they've got a van. Oh, they don't have a van. Oh, now they're in a studio. Oh, they're putting stuff on microphones. Oh, now they're signed to EMI. What? Like,
Yeah, it jumped around a little bit.
I was like, what? How?
It failed to sort of flow as a film. I think they were either trying to fit too much in, or they just didn't hang it together very well. But
Yeah.
once it got going, it was good. I have to say though, the opening credits were wicked. So it opens basically where the film finishes, which is
Yeah.
following behind Freddie as he's preparing to walk on stage at Live Aid, and I thought that was a wicked start.
Yeah. Doesn't he look the spit of him?
Yeah.
Like, even, like, I know this is gonna sound freaking mental, but even from the back, Like,
Yeah, especially from the back.
it's on
Like-
point, just on point. Like, even like he was jumping up and down, wasn't he? And he just his movements and everything. Oh my god, it's like it's him. It was weird.
Yeah.
It was very.
So I feel like we haven't talked a lot about why we liked it, because it sounds like we've kind of talked to the negatives. But
We're trying to just get them out of the way so we can finish on a high.
To be honest, it starts with a pretty epic scene.
Yeah.
It really teases you, and you're like, okay, I'm strapped in. I'm ready for this. This is pretty good. So it starts at Live Aid, and then, to be honest, the music from it was wicked all the way through. I mean, obviously the songs, you know the songs before you go in, right?
Yeah.
But the fact that Brian May had been involved all the way through and was kind of the musical director, for want of a better word, I guess, the way they used some of the tracks and parts of the tracks throughout the film, I thought were brilliant. I mean, to be honest, just getting to listen to Queen songs in the sound system they've got in a cinema, bloody epic.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just bangers, isn't it? Every single one's banger.
Yeah.
We're just like sat there like, oh yeah!
But but hearing those riffs and stuff through whatever I mean, it's not even Dolby surround sound anymore. I don't know what they've got in.
It's Dolby Ultra or something, wasn't it? It's moved up.
It's whatever the freaking latest cinema stuff was, but it sounded sweet as.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
It's really hard not to get excited.
Yeah, it was really good.
And I thought that, Music Loop was pretty good. There was a lot of live performance kind of reenactions and stuff.
Yeah, I actually thought those were pretty good, to be fair. So they took really iconic Queen live performances. The black sequin, it's like black glittery catsuit thing, wasn't it? It's really, really famous. And they did that one. And
they did the really famous show, I don't know if it was Rio or something like that, where he sings Love of My Life. And there's the first time the crowd really sings along. It's a very, very famous show.
Yeah, and everyone's got the lights.
Yeah. We take it for granted now. I think, Queen changed a lot. We take for granted the audience participation, the holding up lighters and all that kind of stuff. But they really did pioneer. They really did move that to the next level. Before Queen, it was kind of a thing, but not to the same level of.
Yeah, not like hundreds of thousands of people singing.
Not the call and answer stuff with the vocals and the clapping along and all that kind of stuff. I mean, they really took that to like an absolute different level.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so they had that. I mean, the Live Aid bit is standout, like best bit of the film. I think they built a replica set from the Live Aid performance at Wembley. I mean, Wembley looked pretty sweet. There's a little bit of dodgy, there's a tiny bit of dodgy CGI in the crowd.
Yeah, a little bit. You see a couple of repeated faces.
Yeah, they've obviously got like 1,000 people as extras.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't hire unfortunately, you can't hire 90,000 people as extras. So they've obviously done a couple of thousand and then, I guess, repeated it.
Yeah.
a little bit as they go back in. So it looked a little bit dodge. Looked like some of those kind of Battlestar Galactica kind of like CGI effects where some of it looks alright and then they run out of budget later on in the series.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see the seams.
Yeah, a little bit. But Wembley itself looks sweet.
Yeah. So all throughout, I'd just like to point out as well, all throughout the film, they use all recordings, don't they? And they use all of the original live recordings as well, and then they sort of mime to it, essentially.
Yeah, he did a fairly good job. I think he sings occasionally. So I was reading about it. It was a mix of actual Queen performances for the audio.
Yeah.
Actual Queen performances. He sings a little bit himself, but mainly where he's singing like a cappella or in band practice and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And they actually used the guy who won. They did in the States, I think, a live kind of X Factor for who was going to play Freddie in the stage show. We'll Rock You. And they used the winner of that.
Oh, okay.
Who's obviously a very good Freddie impersonator to patch in the gaps, basically.
Yeah.
But it was pretty seamless. I mean, you very much sounded like you listened to Freddie
yeah, definitely,
all the way through. I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, I thought it was really good.
Have you ever been to? Did you ever go to the old Wembley to watch any music?
No.
I was very lucky to watch a couple of gigs before it closed down, before they rebuilt it, and the new Wembley's crap. It's just such a bad.
It's teeny, isn't it?
Well, and it's round. It's almost rounded. So like where they put the stage, you lose like 2/3 of the. It's just not. There's something about that old style Wembley Stadium that it's just had such a buzz around it when you had so many people in. I think it was. It was quite shallow. It wasn't very tall. So and it was quite wide. So you got a lot of people in there, and it felt very, very kind of anthemic all the time. I managed to watch a Bon Jovi twice, I think Van Halen in there as well, before it closed down.
Yeah.
But I felt like they really captured the kind of magic of Wembley and the Live Aid kind of buzz.
They definitely caught the atmosphere. I think they did. Like, there were some reviews saying, oh, blah, 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 like moaning about it. But I was like, actually, that for me, that part, like right at the end of the movie when he's doing that,
yeah,
like that bit, like that for me was amazing. I was just like, oh my god, I feel like I'm there. And I wanted to like sing along.
It was sweet. It was really good. It was really good. I have to say, for all that, for any flaws in terms of like, what they did or didn't include in the movie, like the acting and the sound was, I'd say 9.5 out of 10. Like, it was brilliant. The way they piece it together, the sound quality and all that kind of stuff was brilliant. I thought the acting also, from pretty much every single member, there wasn't a dud in there.
No.
They all absolutely nailed
the
portrayal of their people.
Yeah, even like the villainy character. What's his name?
Paul. Yeah, he was their sort of. I mean, he was Freddie's lover for a long while, but they're kind of pretty much their like fourth manager by the time they'd sacked the other three.
Yeah.
He kind of took on management role. Yeah, he was great. He was good. I thought everyone did a fantastic job, like acting wise.
Yeah, you properly hated him by the end of it, didn't you?
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, and it's funny when you flick back to. It's always amazing in films like that. I mean, they're so good at it these days. When you flick back to when you see real pictures of the actual people after you've watched the film or in the end credits and stuff, you're like, oh my god, he looks so much like him.
Yeah.
Like the makeup and prosthetics and stuff these days are absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
There was some really entertaining bits in it, I thought.
Yeah.
This is a good and a bad bit, I think, because the Bohemian Rhapsody bit itself, I kind of agree with you. It could have been a bit more explained. It was a little bit like, oh, I've just written the song. Boom, here it is.
Yeah, and now it's on vinyl.
Yeah, it's a little. So I'd like a little bit more of that, given that's how weird that song is. Like, there was no explanation about what it was about. I mean, there was a vague explanation around, okay, we're going to try and do something just different, like an opera, kind of. Explain the style, but
yeah,
that was kind of it. There was quite a funny sort of montage of them recording the weird bit, which I thought was good.
Yeah. Roger Taylor just busting his balls.
Yeah, I didn't realise that was just Roger Taylor singing for that bit. That bit was good. There was a brilliant setup between them recording Bohemian Rhapsody and having a big argument about whether they should release it or not, and the pressure to not release it because it's supposed to be a single, therefore it needs to be 3 minutes. It's like 6 minutes long. It's weird as.
Yeah.
It's not going to work. It's not going to fly, and they have a big bust up about it. And in the end, they do their own thing and think, I'm going to release it anyway.
Yeah.
And it flops.
Yeah.
And I thought that the setup to that was brilliant because the way the story was going, you kind of think. I mean, I know it's real life, but the way it set you up to go, oh, and they're right.
Yeah.
They did it anyway, and it was a massive success. And it was quite a nice twist that they did it anyway, and it actually got absolutely panned.
Yeah.
It's hard to think back now, and Bohemian Rhapsody not being a particularly well received song.
Yeah.
Because it's widely thought of as one of the best songs ever written.
Yeah, and it's weird, isn't it? All the reviews were like,
absolutely slated
this is disgusting. Why have you even done this? My ears are bleeding.
Yeah, because they re-released it after Freddie died, and then obviously it went to number one then. But
yeah,
and I think it's been number one at Christmas twice apparently.
That doesn't surprise me. It's crazy, isn't it? Because when you think, like, I don't know, that's the pinnacle song that you think of, isn't it? Anyway, when you think of Queen, you think, oh, Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah, absolutely.
Don't you? Like, that's the first one that you go to.
Yeah. But actually, in their lifetime, when they were all alive, that actually wasn't a massive hit for them. To be honest, they had much bigger hits. I think "You're My Best Friend," which was written by John Deacon, I think, or was it written by Roger Taylor?
I can't remember. I feel they could have touched more on that as well. The songwriting elements were kind of brushed over a little bit. So there was like an inkling that they didn't all share the copyrights for the songs and they didn't all share the royalties for the songs, and they each wrote their own songs and then put it to the band, which is a concept that has never really been, I don't think, has been really introduced about Queen before. That they like, everybody just assumes that Freddie Mercury wrote songs and that's kind of it, but that's not the case. And I was like, I really want them to just delve a little bit more into that.
Yeah, for me as a musician, that was really interesting.
Yeah, same as well. Like, obviously, for like, you know, if you're just enjoying it on a pure basis that you enjoy Queen as a band and you're not really interested musically about everything, it's fine. But like, from my like nerdy musical point of view, I'm like, I want to know who wrote what. I want to know what because wasn't it with the other track that they were all fighting over? I Love My Car, wasn't it?
I actually don't really know how that song goes.
No, but do I?
I think it's the B-side. Didn't they say it was the B-side to
Bohemian Rhapsody? Yeah, just like, we're going with I Love My Car. Like, yeah.
Yeah, that was a running joke throughout the film.
It really was. It was funny.
Which I thought was quite good. The other, I think the actual best line of the whole film passed me by until after we got out, to be honest, because I knew Mike Myers was in it. So Mike Myers plays Ray Foster, who was their I think he was maybe second manager or something like that.
EMI or something, wasn't he?
Yeah,
EMI manager or something.
He was certainly the guy in charge when they recorded A Night at the Opera, which had Bohemian Rhapsody on it. And so the whole argument around whether they should release Bohemian Rhapsody was with Mike Myers' character. And there's loads of good dialogue in that section, actually, to be honest with you. But he delivers this line, and I the reason it passed me by is because I didn't realise it was Mike Myers until after I left. And then I was like, well, which one was Mike Myers? Because I knew he was in the film, but I didn't. Yeah. Got to the end of the film and I didn't really recognise which one he was. And anyway, his character so they're talking about Bohemian Rhapsody. He just says, I just can't see it's going to be a hit. Like, no one in 20 years' time is going to be sitting in their car headbanging to this. And it was genius. And the fact that obviously it's Wayne's World. And yeah.
Exactly.
I know I'm being thick, and 90% of the people who watch that will get that.
We're just like, for God's sake,
get that
Simon.
Straight away. But I was like, I was a little Easter egg after on the drive home. I was like,
wait.
That's clever. I like what they did there. So yeah, there was definitely some entertaining bits.
Yeah, definitely.
A couple of bits that did grate on me a little bit, and it didn't annoy me at the time because I hadn't fact checked it. But now I fact checked it. In hindsight, it's taken a little bit of the edge off the film for me, a tiny bit. Yeah. So a couple of bits of narrative. One I can live with because it's kind of creative license. The lesser of the two evils is that Paul, forgotten his surname, Paul Prenter, who is the Freddie Mercury's kind of lover and band manager near the end. Yeah. It's true that they fell out and he got kicked out of the band, and because he leaked some pictures to the press of Freddie's sort of debauchery and that kind of stuff. And I kind of vaguely remember that, although I was too young to understand it, I guess. Yeah. But I do vaguely remember that being a thing. That is absolutely true. It's made out in the film that the main reason he gets sacked is one, because of that, but two, because he doesn't pass on the message about Live Aid to Freddie Mercury. Yeah. Now, that whole argument, firstly, is a lot more complicated than it was made out in the film, but I can live with that, because you've got to draw a line somewhere. But that he doesn't actually get sacked until 2-3 years after Live Aid.
Right, okay.
And in the film, it's very much made out that that's the main reason he gets sacked, is because he didn't...
It's because he didn't do that, yeah.
So I can see why that annoys people a little bit. I think they kind of tried to address it, because he uses that as a reason to sack him, and then says, "Oh well, I don't really care what you do with the pictures. You can release them if you want." So he's obviously giving a nod to the fact that that happens then in the future, rather than it coming out at the time. So I don't know. I can kind of live with that. I mean, it makes a little bit more sense. I think the bit that's annoyed people is the fact that the film kind of alludes to the fact that that was the reason he was sacked. It was something to do with Live Aid. And actually, I think it's a little bit more sordid and a little bit more damaging, the reason he did finally go. Yeah. Which isn't quite addressed in the film. I think it's not as one-sided as it's made out.
Yeah. I think also they probably just used that as a hinge to move the story on.
Yeah. The bit that I can see why it annoys people, and in fact it's kind of annoying me a little bit, because it was the one bit of the film that I was like, oh, that actually really makes it such a good story, and it's not actually true, is the fact that in the film, it's made out that Freddie finds out he has AIDS in the months prior to Live Aid, and comes back and tells the band. And so the fact that he walks onto that Live Aid stage, knowing that he's got AIDS, gives the story a much better arc, and frankly, I completely saw that Live Aid performance in a completely new light because of that, and that was really emotional and powerful for me. The fact that he did all that knowing that this isn't going to last, and this isn't me just performing. This could be my last show almost. Yeah. The fact is, actually, he didn't contract AIDS for another 2 or 3 years till after Live Aid. So they completely changed the order of that in the film to shoehorn it in. They kind of use Live Aid as some kind of like redemption, and Freddie comes back and he's all good and he's apologised about everything, and everything's... Yeah. I can see why that annoys people.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Because that's blatantly wrong.
Yeah. Well, as far as I was aware, he didn't know for a while that he had even got ill, as far as I knew. Like, as far as I was aware from his stories. I know that when he did find out, he told his band, and then but then I think how it got out initially was, as we said before, from pure speculation, from people being like, oh, he looks a bit gaunt. Oh, it It's a Kind of Magic, that one where he's like, literally, he looks like he's freaking wasting away. I think it's that one. He's got so much makeup on, because he's obviously like really ill.
Yeah, to be honest, it gave me a much better insight into a lot of his lyrics, like "The Show Must Go On" and stuff like that.
Yeah.
'Cause, the way it was placed in the film definitely suggests that the content of that whole song is around the fact that he's got AIDS and he's going to die. I don't know whether that's true or not, but it made it out certainly in a lot of the lyrics, the way they placed it in the film, that was the case. Yeah. So I think that's where a lot of the criticism about the film comes on. Is it's historically wildly inaccurate in terms of the timing of when all these things happened.
The timeline's
and the fact that they've brushed over a load of personal life issues with Freddie and painted him out to be this slightly flawed but lovable figure. I think is where it's got everyone's goat. But if you want that kind of, I think you've just got to decide, haven't you? What type of film do you want to watch?
Yeah, it encapsulates what it is about. It makes you feel like going to a rock concert afterwards.
Yeah,
it makes you feel like putting on Queen records and rocking out.
It encapsulated what I think they wanted Queen to be about, which is it's just entertainment. Yeah. It's just sitting back, being entertained, and it's larger than life, and it's good, fun, and stuff, and definitely left me with that.
Yeah. Same. I didn't... I was like, I'll drive home, I might listen to some Queen.
Yeah, I think my slight issue with criticism around it is like, who says it has to be accurate? Like, it's an entertainment.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
If it was like a documentary or something, then obviously...
fair enough. If you go and watch a stage show, suddenly, if you're seeing something in a stage, there's a load more license for, like, being a bit kind of... It's like, you kind of let a lot of stuff slide. Yeah. It's like, I know it didn't quite happen then, but, it's for the purposes of the show. Like, it works better in that sense. For some reason, if you put something on film, I think because we're so obsessed with doing documentaries and stuff on, like, Netflix and stuff, it suddenly has to be real. But only in that genre. Yeah. Like, you don't go questioning, like, you don't watch Avatar and go, well, there's loads of blue people. You don't actually get blue people. Do you know what I mean? Like, how many films like Guardians of the Galaxy, you sit there and go, well, that I've never seen a raccoon talk, so that can't be right. Like, why?
I think there's a guy on YouTube who does that.
Like, I don't know, why is it acceptable for, like, some genres of, like, entertainment film to be, like, wildly, like, kind of, like, loose with, like, reality, and then, something... I mean, I suppose you'd argue that it's based on real people and real-life situations, but it's like...
Yeah, but it's still...
It's there to be an
entertainment story, yeah.
Like, story, not anything else.
No, definitely.
I think. So, shut up and just enjoy it, is what my summary of it.
Basically.
So I found some, I wouldn't say these are interesting facts, but some of them are vaguely more interesting than just facts.
Cool.
So Huffington Post I'm going to blame, in case any of them are rubbish. So they kind of touched on this a little bit in the film, but not to this extent. Another one, Bites the Dust. They mention it in the film as a song written by John Deacon. I suppose I never really thought about it, but he would have written it because it's literally just the bass line, isn't it? Pretty much for the entire song.
All bass.
It's a sweet bass line, though. That was one of the points in actually sitting in the cinema. That is a sick bass line to have through those speakers in the cinema.
Yeah, it's cool. It's a cool tune as well.
It's a cool bass line. Apparently Queen weren't going to release it as a single. Until Michael Jackson convinced them that they should, and it actually went on to be pretty much their most successful single of their career. Obviously, I guess, can we call it Bo Rap? Is that going to be annoying? I decided not to.
Rap.
I decided not to call it that from the outset of this podcast because it would have got annoying over the last hour if I started calling it Bo Rap. But
it's happened now.
It's happened. Yeah, but until Bo Rap, that was one of the most successful. Ones. Apparently, quite a few people had said to him, like roadies and stuff, like they should release it. But like even Roger Taylor remember saying like it would never be a hit, but it did. It sold over 7 million copies.
Wow,
which is pretty good. This is the bit that I really liked on this fact. Later on, the film that we're kind of talking about finishes before this point, but Freddie did go on before he died to do some solo stuff.
Yeah.
He did the whole Barcelona project, which I watched a bit of a documentary on this morning, actually. Interesting.
Yeah, I've
pretty good.
seen a few on that, yeah.
He was going to release a collaborative album with Michael Jackson. Which would have been pretty
good. I think I knew that.
Do you know the reason it didn't happen? So, Freddie walked out of the sessions middle of recording because Jackson insisted on bringing a llama into the studio.
You say that, but that sounds so familiar.
He brought a real llama into the studio, and I think at that point he went, yeah, this is too weird.
Do you know what? There's a line, MJ. We can all be divas as much as we frickin' want, but if you're going to bring in a spitting, chewing frickin' llama that smells of frickin'
yak, willing to overlook the monkey.
Yeah, well, we're over it before we're even under it.
Who brings a llama? Did you ever see...
Who brings a llama to the recording studio?
Did you see those French students who stole a llama? Took it on the Paris Metro?
No.
It's an amazing story. Oh, look it up. Google it. It's amazing. He came out on a night out with them.
Oh, bloody hell. I can imagine like an alpaca. Alpacas are cute, but...
Might have been an alpaca.
Llamas, I don't know if you've ever been around llamas.
Well, I don't hang around them a lot.
Well, they're very spitty.
They are, but I don't imagine an alpaca would be much more, like, studio trained.
They don't spit.
They don't spit?
No. Llamas do and camels do.
Okay, there you go. Never work with children, and definitely don't bring llamas into recording studios.
Just don't do it.
No good can come of it.
No.
Yeah, that was a bloody random fact. This, however, is not a random fact. This is completely and utterly pointless.
I've just seen it on the screen, yeah.
According to the Huffington Post, one of the most critical facts you need to know about Queen is, despite the popular song's lyrics, Freddie Mercury didn't really like riding bicycles.
No, he preferred the car.
The quote I've got here is brilliant. Apparently, it's not true. He didn't like riding bicycles. Brian May claimed the song isn't autobiographical. He said, as I remember, he actually wasn't very keen on riding his bicycle. I don't even know if he had one. He preferred being driven around in a Rolls Royce. But he created a character in the song, and his character can say what he wants, and if he wants to ride a bike, he'll ride a bike.
That sounds fair.
In other words, why are you even asking me this question?
Someone definitely did do that.
That's definitely come from an interview.
So, what was the motivation behind I like to ride my bicycle? Is it not obvious?
What I love is it says, May also points out that this probably means the song, means the line in the song, I don't like Star Wars, is obviously false as well. Freddie quite likes Star Wars. He apparently even rode around on Darth Vader's shoulders during shows.
Has he been down flipping dubs at the park?
Yeah. I also don't think this is a very fact. Freddie Mercury referred to Queen as the bitchiest band on earth. See, that didn't really come across in the film.
No.
If that is true.
No.
They very much kind of glossed over the band arguments and stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely.
I've no doubt that they did.
Mm.
What I did like in the film, though, is the I Want to Break Free video. I always assumed that was Freddie's doing because they're all dressed in drag.
It was nice, Roger Taylor.
And he even says in the film, it's not my idea.
Yeah.
Like, Roger's
everyone's
idea.
blaming me. That is quite funny.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Do assume that, though. It's pretty funny.
Probably the most boring fact for any musician is that we know it to death and we're probably sick of hearing it, is Brian May built his own guitar from his fireplace.
Yeah, I know that.
Yeah, everyone knows that.
That's the first thing you know about Queen, isn't it?
Yes, it's called the Red Special.
God's sake.
But this, however, did make me laugh. Freddie Mercury once dressed Princess Diana up as a man and took her out clubbing.
Oh, that's heroic.
And nobody recognised her.
Yes.
What makes it better is they weren't just out the two of them, they were also out with Kenny Everett.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah. He took her to what? I presume they mean the club Heaven, because it just says a notorious gay bar. Oh no, it's called Vauxhall Tavern in London.
Oh, I know where that is.
Yeah.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah. It does say what she drank here, but apparently she ordered a white wine and a beer. Good, really let her hair down, didn't she?
Yeah, I bet there's more than that.
It's pretty good though. That like if you gloss over the fact that she didn't really drink, that's a pretty mad night out, isn't it?
Mental.
Kenny Everett and Princess Di dressed as a man.
Oh, she had a banging night.
I think she probably did have a banging night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She probably had a proper hangover after that.
Yeah.
Because it's even at Live Aid, the bit in that movie, wasn't it? And they sort of splice it in with actual footage of the original bit, don't they? Like bits here and there. Oh, I know what I was going to say. Frickin' where'd they find somebody who was like the spit Bob Geldof?
Oh, yeah. I forgot that. I totally forgot that.
Right? He sounds just like him.
Yeah,
like,
he looked so much like him as well.
I know. Hats off to you.
Yeah, because, I mean, Bob Geldof looked fairly similar for ages. I mean, he has aged in the last sort of 10 years, I would say, but, like, they could have got Bob Geldof to maybe do it, but, yeah, that guy was genius.
Literally.
Well, Kenny Everett was pretty good.
Yeah.
Tell you what, I gave it some scores yesterday.
Oh.
So, musically, I gave it a 9 out of 10 in my head.
Okay.
Acting-wise, I gave it a 10 out of 10.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I thought, from an entertainment factor, it was kind of 7 out of 10. There was some really, really good bits, but there was also a few bits that I thought were a little bit dull, particularly at the beginning. Took a little while to get into it. And I also didn't feel much emotional connection, apart from the real big bits, like the Live Aid bit. I was a little bit like... Not like, it's a completely different film, but like, not like Walk the Line, and that nearly broke me, that did. And from a factual point of view, I had to give it a 5 out of 10, because more and more I looked into it, it was like, yeah, they've been pretty loose with...
Yeah, I think they just used elements to hinge the story so they could get to what they wanted to do.
Yeah.
I would say a hefty amount of artistic license, shall we say.
Yeah.
In that department.
But I think I sort of settled on about a sort of 7 or 8 out of 10. I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah. I just wish I've said it like 3 times, but I just wish they the other characters got a bit more of a look in. I think that's what I'm trying to say. Like, I just feel like I wanted to know a bit more about everyone else. Like, especially, and because everybody always knows about Brian May. All right, it's kind of... I wanted to know more about John Deacon, and I wanted to know more about Roger Taylor.
Yeah, Roger Taylor surprised me the most out of that film.
Because he does a lot.
Yeah, I didn't realise he wrote as many songs. I didn't realise he had such a banging voice. Particularly didn't realise he did all the high bits in Boat Rap.
In Bo Rap.
Yeah, I feel like I don't know them that well. I feel like, yeah, you're right. We could have had a little bit more backstory or a little bit more.
Yeah.
There you go. There's another film coming out, isn't there? There's Rocket Man.
Yeah, Rocket Man. They're still filming it. It's not out till next year, isn't it?
Yep. What I'm particularly excited about that is that I can't remember his name, but the actor who's playing Elton John is the same guy who played Eddie the Eagle.
Yeah, that's right. You said that the other day when we were at the cinema.
And
Yeah.
have you seen it? I forgot what it's called. Is it just called Eddie the Eagle? The film?
I think it might be.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I want to say the Eagle's landed, but I don't think it was.
No,
called that.
I don't think it's called that.
That is a superb film. It is so good, and that guy is such a good actor, and so I'm really excited about what he can do with Elton John.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I'm going to like it as much as like the music wise. I don't think I'm going to like it as much as Queen.
I don't know.
Although I do secretly like a bit of Elton.
Yeah, well, this is it, isn't it? Like, I think what will happen is you'll feel like, oh, well, how many Elton John songs do I really know? And then you'll get in there and you'll be like, bloody hell, I know every single one. And you'll know all of the words to them. And, like, it looks a bit more fantastical than the Queen.
Well, there was people levitating.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it's going to be more of a kind of, like, vision rather
I hope
than...
the same people who criticised the Queen movie are criticising the fact that people didn't really fly around at gigs.
Yeah. Well, they weren't really rocket men, were they? But it was the 70s.
Yeah, exactly.
There was a lot going around.
Cool. We'll be back fairly shortly with another episode from our season 1, actually, with all the deleted stuff.
Yeah.
That we didn't get to. I hope you enjoyed last episode. If you haven't listened to that, it's worth checking out. It is pretty funny, I have to say.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty funny.
Especially if you're a Minister Joan Hart fan. You should definitely check it out.
Yeah, well, actually, posted a pretty good photo of her up.
She did look pretty sweet in that photo.
Yeah, she's freaking awesome.
Yeah, she is. I fully agree. If you want to follow us on Facebook, we are on Facebook at facebook.com/Site and Kirsty Podcast. Mm-hmm. We are on Instagram at SPRNR Podcast.
Yeah.
And yeah, you can check us out on iTunes, YouTube, Castbox, any other place that has podcasts.
Yeah.
Pretty much, we are there. We've also got a couple of more episodes coming this year before we get to season 2. I've already got season 2 in the bag, man. I've got it nailed.
So organised.
I've got it, yeah. In fact, I haven't told you this, I've mapped out enough episodes for season 3 as well.
Blimmin' heck.
Yeah.
I can tell someone's been off work.
Yeah. There's just a lot of good stuff to talk about.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, it's good. So we will be back to normal format for season 2, though, which will be music-related topics, some funny stories, and a bit of live music or recorded music too.
Yeah.
So that'd be good. Thanks for listening. We'll see you soon.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.